All right, well, it is 2 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Bear with me as I update my microphone. Oh, okay, got that set. If you have any issues hearing me, please go ahead and send in a chat or you can unmute yourself and let me know. But my name's Abby Davis, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I've lost track of what even bootcamp series number this is. We've done a number of workshops. We're doing these every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2 p.m. throughout the month of April. And today we're going to talk about how to research a company and not just the company's website. We really want to, show you how to go beyond the company's website. Anyone can look up a company's website and quote a mission statement or core values, but how to really do a thorough research and go beyond that website. Before we dive in, I just wanted to highlight a couple of reasons why I think it's so important to do really thorough research. And we're probably going to show you some things today that you haven't considered before. But the first reason is that, we want to make sure that the company that you want to go work for, the company that you're interviewing with, are they financially healthy? Are they in a place where they have solid financials? Is there at any risk of, downturns in their industry? And you can't always find that out by doing the research that we're doing today, but you can get a pretty good picture. Just because a company is hiring does not mean that they're earning a profit or that they're doing well. So we want to make sure that you're going to work for someone that is able to, invest in you just as you're going to invest in them. We had a situation actually last spring where a student went to go work for a company in Texas, and they went there and for 2 weeks, and the company apparently had overhired. They weren't really paying attention to their financials, and they ended up letting go some of their recent college grads just 2 weeks after starting. And that's a sign of a company that's probably not paying too close of information to their financials and making the best decisions. That student may not have been able to find that out beforehand, but hopefully this will help give you some insight into how healthy the company is. Also, the more educated and detailed you are with your questions to recruiters and hiring managers, the more that it comes across to them that you're really interested in their company. They interview so many people, and anyone can just look at a company website and pick off a few things. But if you're coming with detailed questions, it really shows your curiosity and interest in the company. And the last reason why it's important to learn how to research a company is because no matter what your major is, no matter what your profession is, I think it's really important that you know how to conduct a high level evaluation of a company. It could be that this is going to be a new customer of yours, or you're a consultant and you're wanting to scope them out. This information can be used in multiple different places. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And some housekeeping. So you've seen this before, but just to reiterate, we're recording this. We're working on getting these on our website. You can unmute yourself at any point and ask a question. You can also submit questions through the chat. This one's going to be a little bit different. I don't have a full PowerPoint presentation prepared for you because I want to hear from you. Who do you want me to research? So here in just a little bit, I'm going to ask you to send in some chats of companies that you're interested in us researching together, and we'll walk through that. So be thinking of those companies so that you can give me some ideas. We'll have time at the end for questions, but as always, you're welcome to ask questions during the presentation as well. So the goal of this workshop is really to learn 3 key research tools that are going to assist you beyond the company's website. And the first is Yahoo Finance. I strongly recommend that you download this app and have it on your phone if you don't already. It's a great way to see what's going on in the stock market. It's a great way to get updates. So yesterday we saw the oil markets do some really crazy stuff. And if you had this app on your phone, it would have kept you updated along the way as well. LinkedIn. And so I know we spent some time last week talking about LinkedIn. Today, we're really going to focus on how to research a company and utilize the resources inside of LinkedIn for your company research. And then annual reports are 10K statements. So we're going to get into, some language, like a 10K statement is something that an accountant or a financial analyst knows about. I will say that you do not have to be, a stockbroker to understand this presentation, but it's a great, annual reports and 10Ks are a great resource to use to find out information about the company. So we're going to use those as well. As always, we highlight career competencies that go along with these workshops. And the two we're really going to focus on today is financial acumen and business insight. So financial acumen is interpreting and applying understanding of key financial indicators to prepare for important conversations and decisions. I can tell you when I worked in human resources, by being able to keep up with the finance conversations that were happening in meetings and with executives, I was able to build my credibility as an HR professional, that it was important for me to understand how our company was performing. I love this quote from Bill Gates. Know your numbers is a fundamental precept of business. And then we're also going to be talking about business insight. So applying the knowledge of business and the marketplace to advance professional goals and contribute to your organization. If you're interested in the oil and gas industry, you need to know what's going on, almost on a day-by-day basis, because that industry changes so much. If you are working as a consultant, you're going to have to know about a lot of different industries. So being able to do that research and know your customer, know your audience is critical. Another great quote that I'll share with you: business, more than any other occupation, is a continual dealing with the future. It's a continual calculation, an instinctive exercise in foresight. Being able to do this research is going to help you in a time like we're experiencing right now with COVID-19, understanding what industries are being impacted, what industries are booming because of what's going on. All of this is going to help you make more informed decisions when you're going through your career search. So as a little disclaimer, you do not have to be an attorney, an accountant, a stockbroker, or a financial analyst to understand or keep up with the conversation that we're going to have today. I'm a human resources person, and we go into human resources because numbers scare us. So if I can understand this stuff, I know that you can too. And let's have some fun. So I know the Easton team members are probably giggling. We may not all think that some of this is fun, but it is interesting to dig in and understand the financials of the company. So with that, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'd like to hear from you. What companies are you interested in having us research? So in the chat box right now, I'm going to pull it up so that I can see what you submit. I would like for you to submit at least one name of a company that you would like us to do some research on together. I'm not going to make you do the research. I'll do all of the work. Okay, so I've got Cerner. Perfect. I'm going to start pulling that up. If you haven't submitted one, go ahead and submit one. And we will start with Cerner. I'm going to share my screen. So hopefully you should be able to see Yahoo Finance right now. If you can't, please send me a chat and let me know. So we're going to start with Cerner. I'm always going to advise that you start with Yahoo Finance because it's important to understand, is a company publicly traded? Is it private? Is it family owned? And so Jacob just submitted Koch Industries, and I'm actually going to start with that one because there's a way that you can find out pretty quickly if a company is publicly traded or not. So Yahoo Finance, lots of good information that you can find here. Here we can see the S&P 500, the Dow, the NASDAQ. Stock markets, going down. It's been kind of all over the place this week, but we've been staying above 23,000, which is fantastic. So I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to start typing in Koch Industries. And there it is. So it tells me immediately that Koch Industries, it's a private company. So I'm not going to be able to find financial data on this company, but we will when we get to LinkedIn. I'll pull it up again. So if it's private, it means that they don't have to disclose their financial information to anyone outside the organization. When you're a publicly traded company, you have to submit certain documents and reports based upon the IRS and the SEC in order to be compliant and to share updates with your shareholders. So for Koch Industries, they don't have to share anything with us, and that's okay. We can still find out more information about that company. Let's look up Cerner and see. So Cerner Corporation, it looks like they are publicly traded. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Cerner. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Cerner, they are based out of Kansas City. They're a healthcare company, but they're almost like healthcare analytics. They're really big into data and into the quality of the patient experience. Neil Patterson, who I believe was the founder of Cerner, is an OSU alum and a big donor, the soccer field. has his name on it, and he's a Spears alum as well. So here I can find some basic information about Cerner. I've got their stock price. Down here, I can find their market cap. So their market cap is $20 billion, which essentially the market cap is a good way of understanding, how much does Wall Street essentially value this company at. And right now, that's 20.8 billion is roughly how much Cerner Corporation is worth. And so we can find that information right here. Now they're in the red, but everyone's in the red today. So don't pay too much attention to that. As changes in the stock market occur, everyone's impacted. So even Apple and Amazon and all the really high performing companies are going to be in the red a little bit today. I'm going to go over to historical data because what this is going to show me is how their stock price has changed over time. I like for you to look at this information for publicly traded companies because it tells a story. It can tell a story of rough times or challenges the company has faced. It can tell stories about incredible growth. And I really don't know much about Cerner's story, so we'll look at it together. For time period, I actually want to do, let's see, historical. I want to go monthly. And I would like to do a 5-year look back. So I've got that. I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to pay attention to this close column right here. So this is what the stock price closed at the beginning of each month. So April 1st, they closed at 70, March 62. I'm just going to scroll down and we can see they've been hovering around the 60s and 70s, 50s there for a little bit, 60s, 70s. So pretty consistent for the most part. They haven't had much change over time, which means, that they probably have their costs under control. They are earning a good profit. They're a pretty dependable stock is what I would gather from this. So this tells me that they haven't had any, major events. They've been focusing on slow organic growth that's very profitable. So that tells me some information there. There's some other, stats and outlooks that you can look at. Typically, if we scroll down, we can see stories that are related to the company. So here's why you should hold on to your Cerner stock, is what one analyst put. And you can see their first quarter earnings results. So all of this information that has to deal with Cerner. Any type of news stories tied to them will be listed here. Now I want to go over to LinkedIn and see what I can find there. So I'm on my LinkedIn site and I'm just going to type in Cerner. And there they are. I'm not following them and I need to. So I'm going to go ahead and click follow. And I want to look at some of their recent posts. And the reason I want to do that is because if I go to their website, sure, I'm going to see an about them section, their core values, mission statements, all of that fun jazz that companies have to list. This is going to show me what they're doing right now and today. So if I'm going to interview with them, I can say, hey, I saw that you recently shared a story about this. That's really exciting. Can you tell me more about it? So here they have 4 key surge capacity recommendations for COVID, expanding capability of healthcare records. So they're doing a lot. How rural communities are pulling together. Rural communities are struggling with the resources to respond to COVID-19. So I could read this story and come up with some questions there. Opportunity to, so they're collaborating with the Veterans Community Project to provide meals to those who need it most. So if you are in the service or if you're a veteran, or maybe you have a parent that served in the military, this is something else that you could bring up. I saw that you're partnering with the Veterans Community Project and, providing meals to those who need it. I have a family that served in the armed forces and that means a lot to me. Tell me more about other types of community, outreach programs that Cerner helps with. That just shows that you've done your research. Here, let's see. Okay, they actually have their own podcast. So if I'm really interested in Cerner, I need to be listening to that podcast. So you get the point. I can go through here and see all of the things that are really relevant to Cerner right now. The next thing I want to look at is their actual website. And so I'm just going to type in Cerner Corp. Because here's where I can find their annual report or their 10K filings under investor relations. I'm going to accept the cookies. So what I'm looking for, this is a publicly traded company, meaning that they have to have somewhere on their website a link that's going to take me to their quarterly earnings reports, their annual filings. That has to be listed on here somewhere. Sometimes I have to dig a little bit, but typically we can find it. So let's take a look. I'm going to start here and see what I can find. Government health plan, about us, haha, investor relations. So investor relations is typically where this information is going to be. I'm going to click there. I can see their stock price and what's going on. I can see news and events, financials. I'm actually going to go to annual reports. So the 10K statement is a pretty thick and dense filing that the company has to make for the SEC. And you can read through all of that. But most companies do a really good job of summarizing the highlights from that information and providing it in a format that you and I can understand. So I'm going to click on annual reports. I'm going to go ahead and download this. Okay, so everyone should be looking at the 2019 annual report for Cerner. If for whatever reason that doesn't pop up, let me know. But that's what we're looking at together now. I'm going to go through these first few pages. So here it's going to start off with a table of contents. Here we can see that's where the actual 10K starts, is on page 19. But typically all of this fun stuff, the first few pages, are going to tell us more information about the highlights that are in that 10K statement. Here's their board of directors. So I can see, who their CEO, who their president is, a lot of their executives, their leadership team. They, for a publicly traded company in the US, they have a pretty diverse leadership team, which is good to see. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So here we can see their long-term performance. They're going to show us between 1986, 2009, and 2019 a comparison, which is an interesting way to really see how that all scales out. I haven't seen a company do that before. So since going public, it looks like growth rates around 19% for revenue. Bottom lines, operating margin, net earnings, 18% growth. Okay, so this is interesting because this is telling us exactly what we just saw when we did a look back on their stock. Their stock was pretty steady and consistent, but it did grow over time. We saw some 40s and 50s, 60s and 70s. So long-term, slow organic growth, and that's what we're seeing. From 1986 until present day, 18% growth in their net earnings. That's a really healthy growth. It doesn't have to be rapid. This means that they are probably very careful and diligent in the decisions that they make to innovate and grow. What else can I see? Total assets have grown by 18%. Total debt. So debt has gone up. That's not always a bad thing. You have to invest in things in order to innovate and grow. So seeing that debt has increased isn't always a bad thing, as long as they can, manage and be able to be paying on that debt. It's whenever we see that, long-term debt, when your debt is more than what the company is worth, or it's, much more than what you're bringing in, that's when we can see some cause for alarm. Cash flow, investment growth. Let's see what else they have. So a letter to our shareholders. Typically the CEO is going to write just a really short letter highlighting some of the changes or advances that they've seen. Market share, focus on delivering value. Here's revenue growth. So I can look at this and say, I've noticed that in the past 10 years, you've experienced $4 billion in revenue growth. That's been very, steady and strong growth over time. Tell me more about what has led to that growth. You just knocked off that recruiter's socks. That's a fantastic question. It's not too detailed. Now, I don't want to go in and say to them, I noticed that in 2016, your cost increased by, $1.5 million in this specific area. Tell me more about that. The recruiter's not going to know that much detailed information. What they will be able to speak to, though, is how they've been able to grow in general by $5 billion over the past 10 or so years. Asking those questions shows that you've done your research and that you're very interested in the company. So prepared for what's next. It looks like they're going to go into more details about some of the innovations or some of the upcoming initiatives that they have going on. They're talking about their federal business. So I'm just scanning through, but this isn't that many pages. So if you're having an interview with Cerner, we want you to sit down and take the time to read through these, highlight, and formulate some questions about it. Impact around the world. Here's their volunteer and their community outreach. So a lot of good information signed by their CEO before it goes into the actual 10K, which is going to be right about, it was page 19. Let's see where it is. So here's the actual 10K statement. I can tell just by all of this text that shows here. Before we even got here, though, a lot of times they'll provide some nice charts and graphs about what's going on. They also reported on, I believe, executive compensation that I saw up here. So chief executive officer compensation, other executive compensation. Here they broke out their gender and also the ethnic diversity of their associates as well. So all good information. So that's Cerner in a nutshell. We looked them up on Yahoo Finance. We went to LinkedIn to see the things that they're posting about. Now we've gone through their annual report. If I go through all of this and formulate some questions, I'm going to be really prepared for my interview and how I can ask questions to them when it's my turn to ask. Let's see. Koch Industries, we talked about looking them up on LinkedIn, so I'm going to go there quickly. So we saw that they are private, meaning that I'm not going to be able to find out a lot of information about their financials, but I can come here, and it looks like I am following them, and I can see things that they are posting about. So Georgia Pacific, I can't talk, is owned by Koch Industries. So this is one of their companies. And let's see, 2020 most influential Black executives in corporate America. So this is the behind the scenes. GP Foundation continues. So I'm not sure if this is the CEO, but it looks like one of the executives at Georgia Pacific. So this is, again, another great story that you could highlight and say, you know, I saw that your recent CEO of Georgia Pacific was recognized as an influential Black executive in corporate America. What other types of, you know, diversity initiatives do you have going on in your organization? How do you help set up your employees to be successful and grow into leadership positions if that's what they're interested in? So other things that I can see here, top healthcare executives, uniting to fight COVID-19 with ultraviolet light. I have no idea what this is about, but it looks really cool. Let's look at this post. So to help combat one of the greatest challenges, we're partnering with Violet Defense Technology to provide access to clean protective equipment using mobile ultraviolet decontamination units for hospitals across the country. Koch Industries, you know, doesn't work that much in healthcare. So this is a fantastic story, and reading this and again, being prepared to ask those questions at the interview. So going through these stories, finding out what's important to them. One other thing I want to show you. I can go here to people, and this is actually one of the first things that you should do. If I want to work for Koch Industries, I want to find out who all of my OSU alumni are that work there. So I'm going to search Oklahoma State. 229 employees at Koch Industries on LinkedIn are Oklahoma State University alumni. I can go through here, and Savannah showed us the importance of the second connection and the first connection. So Zach is actually someone that I'm connected with, and all of these that are second connections means that I have someone in common with them. So if I wanted to, let's click on Talent Solutions Program Lead. This sounds like someone that probably works in human resources, which is a good connection to have. And if I click on Colton, it should take me to his profile. There we go. It's going to show me that I have 78 mutual connections. So I could easily either ask one of my connections to introduce me to him, or I could connect with him directly. So here's how you can see all of the OSU alumni that work at Koch that are on LinkedIn, and there's absolutely no problem in reaching out to them to connect. So something you could easily do, let's say that you are going to apply for a product control analyst. You could send Morgan a note and say, hi Morgan, my name's Abby. I'm an OSU, I'm applying for this position. I notice you work in that department. What tips or advice could you offer me to help me be successful for this interview? You're not asking for them to do anything for you. You're not asking them to pass your resume along. You're not asking them to give you the job. You're simply asking for their advice and for their tips. And every OSU alum is very, very happy to do that because we love helping each other out. Okay, I saw another one that says Cherokee Building Materials. I'm not familiar with them. I am assuming they're probably not publicly traded, but we're going to check. And yeah, I'm not having anything come up. But if I go to, let's see if they are on LinkedIn. Cherokee, there they are. Cherokee Building Materials. I can see about them, their jobs. It doesn't look like they have a lot of activity, but there's 32 employees. So here's everyone that currently works there, and I can see that I have some second connections, so I could easily connect with them here. I have Paycom, Chesapeake, IBM. Let's take a look at IBM. $103.5 billion market cap. They are worth a lot of money. We can see all the stories associated and going on with them. I'm going to pull up Paycom, and I'm cheating a little bit because I've looked at them before, but I want to highlight the importance of seeing that historical trend in their stock prices. So if I go down to Paycom, and again, I'm going to go to historical data here. And I'm going to change this again to a 5-year look back. And I want my frequency to be monthly, and I'm going to hit apply. So I'm going to pay attention again to this close column that shows where the stock price closed each day. I'm going to go all the way at the bottom, and we can already see a big change. So May 1st, 2015, $34 a share. I'm going to just scroll up slowly. We can see they're growing, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100. Wow, jumping to $180, $200. Okay, so we can quickly see that in just 5 years, Paycom has seen explosive growth. We can see that in their stock price just alone. And I bet if we pull up their annual report, we can see more information. So a great interview question would be, I've noticed from, 2015 until now, your stock price has, grown by X percent or, quadrupled or whatever it is. Tell me more about what has led to that growth and what challenges can go along with growing that fast. There are absolutely challenges that can come along with rapid growth. But asking those questions shows that you have done your homework. And so, Chesapeake, any of the oil and gas companies, actually, I'm going to look up ConocoPhillips. Chesapeake stock price has been kind of all over the place. So I'm going to pull up ConocoPhillips because long-term theirs has shown a little bit more stability. I'm going to go to historical data again. I wish I could do longer back than, let's see. I'm actually going to go back to 2013, and I'm going to go to monthly. So I'm doing a 7-year look back, and I'll show you why I want to do that here in just a second. So we're looking at the close. So here, 2013, $60 a share, up into $70. The reason we see it so high is because oil prices were really high. They're hovering around $100 a barrel right now. To give you some perspective or context, yesterday oil prices actually briefly went negative. I don't think that's ever happened before, but around here we're looking at $100 oil. Then in 2014, we experienced a crash later in the year. So starting here and then really in 2015. So here's where we can start to see their stock price go down. So $80 a share. Down to into the 60s in just about a year. So $20 that they went down over a pretty quick period of time. But compared to most companies, they've weathered the storm pretty well. So you could say, I noticed in 2015, oil prices had a big downturn, but everyone had some loss, but you've been able to keep steady for a while. Again, the story that it tells can be really powerful. Those are the big things that I wanted to highlight. Yahoo Finance, LinkedIn, again, I cannot stress enough going to LinkedIn and being able to see, I can get Paycom to come up. One of the best resources that you're going to have are going to be connecting with OSU alumni that work at that company and asking how they can provide you with tips, tricks, questions, ideas about the culture that they may be able to share. And I'm going to show you this one more time. So I'm on Paycom's website. I'm going to go to people. Where they studied, sometimes it'll pop up here. Other times you can just search. I'm going to click on Oklahoma State University. And there you go. There's everyone. And it's scrolling. It's going to show me more and more. I can also go to jobs and see all of the jobs that they have listed as well. So see all jobs, and it'll list them all right here for me. They've got quite a few, which is a good sign. One other quick feature that I'll show you with the jobs feature inside of LinkedIn, if you go to the search bar here and click on jobs, I really like using LinkedIn as a job search tool because it has a few extra boxes to click that most don't. So I can go to, let's see, I'm going to type in Oklahoma City. Let's do Oklahoma City search. And here I can do experience level. So I'm looking for entry level, apply. I want to make sure that it's something that's been posted recently. So posted in the last month, apply 1,000. And I can also go in here and type in job function. So it looks like information technology, there's 153, apply. So now I'm able to see all of the entry level information technology related positions that are open right now in Oklahoma City, and they're all listed here. Of course, we wouldn't apply to this one here, but that's okay. So lots of opportunities there that you can see, and I just wanted to point that out to you. At this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to our PowerPoint presentation. And just do a quick reminder that we've got 2 more workshops this week. So tomorrow we're going to be doing remote interviewing and virtual etiquette. And then on Thursday, how to interview successfully. So we have a 2-part series for interviewing. Next week, we'll be talking about pursuing a graduate degree, if that's something you're considering. How do I become more marketable in my job search? And then we'll wrap up with a career coach Q&A panel. So that's what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. If you are preparing for an interview with a company and you want to walk through what we did right here, right now, we're happy to help you do that. You can schedule an appointment with a career coach. We'll help you find everything that we can. You know, one other feature that I didn't highlight today was Glassdoor. And you all have access to Glassdoor. You can find information about compensation, interview questions. We'll make sure that we hit on Glassdoor as part of the interview series that we have this week as another resource that you have available to you. With that, I'll open it up and see if you have any questions.
Hi, Abby. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing pretty well, That was really good information. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, no problem. I did have a question. I reached out. I think I might have reached out to Kelly on this one, but I was not able. I had a Zoom meeting for a class going on at 2 last week, and I missed. I believe it was like the LinkedIn day when you talked more in depth about LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I went to the Easton Center's website, and I was unable to find the PowerPoint or the recording for that. Is it just due to it like not being uploaded yet, or is there a particular place that I need to look for that?
Yeah, great question. We haven't been able to get them uploaded yet. I've been converting them to YouTube links, and we'll be uploading those along with the presentation. This is Jacob, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Jacob, we will send you a follow-up note. We'll send you the PowerPoint, the link to the YouTube, and then also our LinkedIn guide.
Okay, awesome. That would be awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for visiting with us today. Please keep us posted on your job search and let us know how we can help you. Again, we're working to get all these uploaded on our website, and we hope you have a good rest of your week. Thank you.